Alright, I know this is a weird place for us to start, but I have to clear the air. I hate the name of this. Pet Shop of Horrors. It smacks of US licensors pulling names out of their ass to take advantage of brand recognition. It's in the same ballpark as those wind-seducing pun names for hentai releases. Such as...
Mother Knows Breast. Anyone you can do, I can do better. Last train to Gropesville. Flesh Dance. Study Abroad.
Thank you, Swab. And
Do you know the Milfing Man? Foxy Nudes. The Hills Have Size. Elfin Laid.
you done?
And Sex Taxi.
Wait, don't I get one?
Well, do you have one?
No.
It doesn't take long for the mind to make the connection to Little Shop of Horrors, which couldn't have been a coincidence. But, funnily enough, it is the original title of the 1995 manga created by Matsuria Kino. And what's more, Pet Shop of Horrors is almost nothing like Little Shop. Sorry to disappoint anyone out there expecting to see anime Rick Moranis, or Audrey.
I'm just a mean green mother from outer space and I'm bad.
As such, when I first watched Pet Shop, I had the complete wrong idea about what I was in for. Not that I feel that I got swindled by any means, but there is a reason why so much time and devotion go into designing the cover of a book. A title should not only tell you about what you're about to experience, but also be bespoke to itself. Elsewise, you're just going to get an asylum movie. I suppose I'd be more pissed if I was surprised by how bad Pet Shop of Horrors was. But in fact, I was surprised by how good it is. Released originally in Japan in 1999, then by Urban Vision for Americans in 2000, Pet Shop of Horrors is a unique OVA, especially for the time. As the industry was beginning to move away from traditional cel painting to digital, the late 90s was the last hurrah for truly dark and, dare I say, gothic-looking anime. I mean, just look at the animation. It certainly doesn't seem like it was made in 1999, or feel that way, most importantly. And considering what the anime is actually about, that dark and grainy atmosphere only adds to the show. But what is it about, and why has it stayed in the memories of so many people that have been clamoring for a review of this for the last 7 years? You know, outside of the fact that it used to play on TBS. Well, let's find out. This is Pet Shop of Horrors. First off, you shouldn't be thinking Roger Corman, you should be thinking Rod Serling, as Pet Shop of Horrors is actually way closer to The Twilight Zone, a series of episodic stories centering around characters getting their karmic punishments and just desserts. These punishments are vicariously doled out by a mysterious pet shopkeeper, Count D, that sells exotic animals to people under differing but strict rules. And you can guess what happens if you break them. Secondly, since I want people to go out and see Pet Shop of Horrors, I will not be going into every single episode. Besides, it's episodic in nature anyway, so once you've seen one episode, you get the gist of what the series is trying to do. Just like with my review of Kekko Kamen, I'm only going to talk about the first episode and my favorite episode. One to get you all on the same page, and the other for me to gush about. From there, I'm going to leave it up to you whether or not you want to get yourself a copy, as it's widely available on Amazon. With all of that out of the way, let's take a trip down to Chinatown. No, I mean it. The eponymous pet shop situates itself in Los Angeles, where the mysterious Count is dealing with an unsatisfied customer who broke contract, and thus pays for it.
Yeah, they say it looked like you'd been attacked by a pack of wild dogs.
I heard it had to be something bigger than a dog.
Yeah, like a tiger.
A tiger?
No way. Where are you gonna find a tiger in Chinatown?
Well, there is a sweet shop on the edge of town. Just remember to bring some mace. And a comfortable pair of shoes. The attack has left more than a few people puzzled, with Detective Leon Alcott, who looks like the Bogart brother that neither Andy or Terry like to talk about, following up on the only lead he has.
Now, how may I be of service?
I'll tell you how you can be of service, buddy. You can drop the Dragon Lady Madam Butterfly act and tell me the truth.
It was the 90s. Well, seeing as how effeminate man sells another man a poster of a tiger doesn't exactly merit a 25 to life sentence, Leon Bogart has to exit with his tail between his legs, which is unfortunate because the very next scene, some future victims, distraught parents, wander in looking for a pet to replace the loss felt after their daughter died. And wouldn't you know it, Dee just so happens to have exactly who they're looking for.
I'm obliged to remind you that this is a pet shop. We only deal in animals here.
Yes, of Of course I can see she's a rabbit.
Did Dee just convince two fully grown adults that the little girl sitting right in front of them in plain view is a rabbit?
Seems like a lot for a horse.
Well, that's because it's not a horse. It's a dog.
You just said it was a...
A Winter's Tale reference? Holy crap, I feel like I just caught Nabra. The parents are doubling over themselves at the prospect of having a rabbit that looks like their daughter, which of course sounds utterly silly. But I'm sure that Suave can tell you that daughters turning into rabbits, more common than you think.
I was a penthouse man, you troglodyte!
But like all good things, it comes with a catch or three. Don't show her to anyone, always be burning a certain kind of incense, and only feed her vegetables and water. Whether or not it can't be after midnight is never brought up. And how long does it take for the parents to break... Oh, cripes, I think they just broke the sound barrier!
Oh, of course you want some sweets, don't you, my darling?
No, we can't feed her anything but water and vegetables. You know that.
Water and vegetables, that's not enough nutrition.
Yeah, a growing girl needs her vitamins and minerals that she can only get in cookies. What in the world is your job, Mommy Dearest? Spokesperson for Nabisco? Oh, by the way, your daughter rabbit thing is named Alice? I see what you did there.
I'm telling you, something suspicious is going on in that pet shop.
Leon, listen to me. You can't go off half-cocked. What you need is some proof, detective.
So then I guess you won't find any of this interesting, Captain. That's Alice Hayward. The coroner lists her cause of death as excessive drug use.
What in the... How tall is this girl supposed to be? She's looking down because you can see the top of her head, so 48 inches? Barely 4 feet tall? What is she, 7 years old? And she died of a drug overdose. Is her last name Barrymore? Of course, punishment comes on swift wings, as too many sweets can give you a tummy ache, or make you suddenly pregnant with demonic babies that tear you apart from the inside.
Mommy. Mommy. Mama.
Okay. This just went from silly little anime to full-on trauma horror film in a nanosecond. And what does it say about me and my job that this isn't the first time I've ever seen a birthing scene in which somebody launches themselves out of a still breathing, living woman? Although here in Ninja Resurrection, the scene is played more fantastical and awe-inspiring than horrifying, whereas Pet Shop of Horrors is downright nightmare fuel, while simultaneously being the best commercial for condoms I've ever seen. Although, if you remember the beginning of the episode, the girl is actually a rabbit, so when Dee and Bogart arrive to clear things up... it basically turns into Night of the Lepus. With the dad hilariously killed by rabbits, all that's left for Dee to do is to admonish Mommy Dearest for breaking contract, while also forcing her to admit her sins as a parent, aiding and abetting her actual daughter's addiction.
I really need it. I need it.
Just this once. Just this once.
And much like how Mother is consumed with guilt for giving her daughter the hit that would eventually kill her, so too is Mommy consumed by... rabbits. Just... why rabbits? Any other animal would be more preferable for a horror film than fuzzy bunnies. Hell, man-eating slugs would be more frightening than this. Ooh. Stick with the rabbits. In a final bit of poetic justice, the mother survives the horde of bunnies, who all die because of the cookies she gave to her pet.
While breeding, the additives were passed through all the animals. Slowly, the chemicals took effect and began to disease and eventually poison them. What killed Alice was the love given to her for just this once.
But why rabbits? Okay, well, the first episode was pretty ridiculous, and the dub script charters into homophobic territory more than necessary. Normally, this would be the part where I play a clip of the guy from the top of the episode calling Count D a bundle of sticks, but I don't think that's necessary. But otherwise, it does a great job in laying the foundation for what the series is trying to accomplish. Already, you can tell what kind of stories Pet Shop wants to tell, with each one living and dying on the premise alone. The first episode's premise is pretty shaky, all things considered, but the third episode's premise, well, that's a different story altogether. We open on the actor Robin Hendricks, star of such copyright-dodging classics like Space Wars, despairing over his estranged wife and washed-up career, and comforting himself with his reptile pets. Then he dies!
My guess is it was a woman.
We'll take the fingerprints and check them.
Huh. Robin Hendricks.
Look, I know that's just bad English, but all I could think about is a cute little Jimi Hendrix trying to play Foxy Lady on his Fisher-Price guitar for his mom. Upon discovering the body of Robin, Bogart comes across, what do you know, an exotic lizard. So, time to pay Count D a visit, and pay his toll in bakery goods.
Well, something I thought you might like.
Oh. What an aroma. It must be the champagne from the Hotel de Marseille. Wow.
Okay, I gotta admit, I kind of love the back and forth between Count D and Bogart. Over the course of the series, Bogart kind of becomes D's reluctant friend, and yet through the entire run, he still accuses him of being either a murderer or a drug dealer, even though he has witnessed time after time events that go beyond rational and scientific thinking. I mean, for crying out loud, he plainly sees D's whatever this is, and yet he still is this incredulous, bullheaded asshole who disregards everything he has seen to come back to being this hard-ass detective. In the first episode, yeah, I get it, suspicious shopkeeper, mysterious deaths revolving around him, the logic is there. But after being swarmed by killer bunnies and other mystical creatures, you'd think he would learn to check his first reaction. And yet, his fiery rhetoric matches well against D's almost demure presence. Never once raising his voice or losing his poise, D just deflects all accusations and calmly invites Bogart for tea and conversation. It's actually pretty funny to see Bogart frustrated with the fact that D never meets him on his level, and in fact, has to feed into D's sweet tooth just to get the picture of what's been going on. Or in this case, what has happened.
I'm afraid the image he established as that unfortunate prince who sacrificed his life to save his mother planet was too strong. People could not see him, only the prince.
And from here on out, the episode is mostly D just hinting at what might have happened to Robin. Although for the rest of us, he does kind of spoil it by telling Bogart that he sold Robin a living, breathing Gorgon?
Unreal. No, she is real. Her skin is so cold, so smooth.
Oh, and did I not mention that Robin is being voiced by Matt Miller? You know, Tenchi.
Do you like it, Medusa? Even though she can't talk, I'd rather be with her than those hysterical, screaming fans. Women who don't know the real me.
Women who constantly glomp me and invade my privacy by perving on me in the bathroom. Yeah, I'd much rather be with a snake woman who can kill me by turning me into stone. And so he does, until reality comes crashing down on him with another failed audition, and the realization that Hollywood feasts on young blood, and his time has seemingly passed. Distraught from this, he elects to have one final glass of wine with his Medusa, and willingly kills himself by looking into her eyes, with Medusa following him soon after. And only when it's far too late for him to hear does the public finally admit that he was a fantastic actor. Quite the somber ending to a very sobering story. That is somewhat undone by Bogart's bluntness.
I've brought Medusa's ashes. I feel quite certain the young lovers would want to rest together.
Great, whatever.
You are just the most cantankerous little beehole, aren't you, Bogart? While the plot of this episode is pretty lean, I love this episode because of its attention to atmosphere and mood. Scenes will play without much being said, letting the characters and setting be washed over by the music and warm but isolated lighting. It's a great example of letting the visuals tell the story, as even just watching clips of the episode without any audio can still tell you what the characters are feeling and who their feelings are directed towards. Made all the more impressive by the fact that, barring those few instances of needless gay bashing, The dub is quite charming. There's just something wholly believable and down-to-earth about each and every one of these performances. From top to bottom, every actor gives their role a sense of grounded realism, from Bogart's sneering disgust to Dee's enigmatic playfulness. There's always something to notice and admire in every character. Urban Vision had its weirdness with what it decided to license over the course of its existence, as we discussed in previous episodes, and its casting was just plain spotty. But when it came to the quality of their dubs, they probably led the pack in terms of overall average.
She cried, begging me I had to help her. So I gave her a cookie. She was so happy. It made her so happy. She looked just like an angel.
I hope that by now I stirred some interest in you to pick up Pet Shop of Horrors. It's a damn great example of what I find lacking in anime today. It's moody, atmospheric, and it can actually be genuinely creepy at points. Once again, it's widely available and readily in print, so get yourself a copy for the Halloween season. But speaking of Halloween, and Urban Vision, there is a movie that I've been meaning to get to for quite some time, and it just might very well be the greatest anime sequel I have ever seen. Till next time.